What we say often is that the very same traits that got you into addiction can become the very same traits to lead you out of addiction. I've been arrested 18 times, but that never stopped me from getting high. So that was bad decision making, but it's also reflective of this trait of determination, right? That many people in addiction have.
Welcome to the Conscious Solutions Podcast, where we highlight leaders, founders, and practitioners who are shaping the future of healing, recovery, and human transformation. This show is dedicated to the people who help the people, the innovators building clinics, nonprofits, recovery programs, wellness practices, and community-based solutions that create real impact in the world. I'm Brandon Barklay, and over the last 8 years, I've had the privilege of working alongside organizations across the alternative wellness and mental health landscape, from retreat centers and practitioners to nonprofits, recovery programs, and community-driven initiatives. And one thing has become very clear. The people doing the most meaningful work are often the ones with the least support, visibility, and resources. And this podcast is designed to change that by sharing the real stories, lessons, challenges, and breakthroughs from the leaders on the front line of human healing. Thanks for being here, and let's dive into today's conversation. Good afternoon.
Hey, Brandon, how are you?
I'm doing well, Dr. Roop. How are you today?
Doing wonderful. Um got a lot of tasks we're working on, and we're putting up the Christmas tree at the same time. So there's a lot going on here.
Nice. All right. All right. Yeah, well, it feels slightly early to think about Christmas, but it's everywhere in the stores and everything. It's
Yeah, I know. I know. We thought we'd beat everybody to the punch, I guess, and go ahead and beat the madness.
Well, and I don't know if it was on hold or if I was in a store, but they had Christmas music on.
It's
And I
crazy.
was like,
Yeah.
okay. I guess that's what the season we're in.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I know. We'll probably be burnt out before Thanksgiving, but it is what it is.
That's all right. There's some Christmas music that never really gets old, and then there's some that, I don't mind it. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. Yeah.
um, and
Yeah.
do you prefer Jason, Dr.
Yeah.
Roop?
No, Jason's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, Jason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I made all my notes and everything with Dr. Roop. Just
Yeah, you can keep it Dr. Root. That's fine. I guess
okay.
for publicity purposes or you know, to keep it formal, I guess, in those contexts when it's needed. But otherwise, just you and I just having a conversation, Jason will work.
And where are you calling in from today?
Campbellsville, Kentucky.
That's right. And
Hmm.
what's a snapshot of the day been like over there? You have good weather. What's it
It's
today?
been raining all week. Yeah, we just got back from Seattle last week and it was sunshine. It was a perfect week. And then we come back to Kentucky and it's straight rain. So yeah.
Oh, you got lucky then in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah. It was beautiful. It was we had a great time there. There's a recovery high school up there that's using the trait-based model. So we were glad to launch that.
Oh, amazing that you're part of the project for that high school.
Yeah, they are implementing the therapeutic modality that I created, the trait-based model recovery.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be their main curriculum at Seattle's only recovery high school. So yeah, that's why we were there doing a training and a launch.
Wow, amazing. I bet that feels great.
Yep, sure does.
Very cool. That I lived in the Pacific Northwest for 15 years.
Oh, nice. Where at what state?
I, w-
Where?
I was in Portland. Well, mostly. I went to school in
Lovely.
Eugene and then moved to
Yeah, that's
Portland
great.
for work
Great.
and spent 15 years there. So a lot of
Where
time in
where are
Seattle.
you now?
In South Florida, I'm in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's interesting. I know my wife and we're looking to get out of Kentucky as soon as possible.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah. We've looked at California, and then that was our first time in the Pacific Northwest. We loved it. I mean, absolutely loved it. But yeah, South Florida is no humdrum location at all. I mean, was it like Fort Lauderdale, Miami?
Yep,
Hmm.
Fort Lauderdale.
That's great. That's
Yep.
lovely.
Yeah, it's the largest city that I've ever lived in.
Okay.
You know, I was from small town Northwest Colorado, and then I thought Portland was big.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So, yeah, it's been a little bit of an adjustment, but 4.5 years here now, I feel like I got my feet under me, and
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. We'll be in Florida in a couple weeks. There's a another school down there in St. Petersburg that's going to be doing the trait-based model prevention. So we should be heading down there in a couple weeks. Not all the way in South Florida, but never been to St. Petersburg before, but it's got to be better than Kentucky.
well, it's great to hear that the body of work that you're developing is starting to get around. And as I was checking out the work that you're doing on your website, so
Mhm.
it's the Center for Strength-Based Transformation, Start from Strength.
It's the Center for Trait-Based Transformation, and Start from Strength is our slogan.
Right. So, and do you have a center there where you're at?
Well, we are actually located in, or our programs have been implemented in 5 states. So we don't have a traditional residential treatment facility. What we do is, of course, we created the therapeutic modality, the psychosocial educational modality, that can be put into place at various treatment centers, community-based programs, and then, of course, we have the trait-based model prevention, which has been implemented into schools. So it's a full continuum of strength, but it's not like a physical space. So that's when we say the Center for Trait-Based Transformation, it's more like a think tank, you could say, that has arms all across the nation.
Right, okay. Well, that's beautiful. I mean, it's certainly it sounds like it's turning into a movement.
That's it. That's the whole thing. It really is. The traditional approach to addiction focuses on behavior or labels parts of ourselves as defective. And what trait-based does is, well, of course, we start from strength, but we go beyond the behavior modification and beyond the cognitive reframing, which like CBT delivers or DBT. And by focusing on the traits, it actually makes it an experiential learning process. So there is an emotional framework within the modality called the tree of traits, which helps us to establish inner or internal balance and harmony and to maintain that. And through understanding our traits and their positive expressions, but also their shadow expressions. So we don't call our behaviors bad or we don't call parts of ourselves bad. Traits when they're under stress and under burden, like empathy, when we're out of balance, comes across as manipulation, or determination would come across as stubbornness. And so we understand that those shadow expressions are not anything that's detrimental or negative or moralistically negative for our personhood, but rather it broadens the overall understanding of what it means to be a human. And so we use these traits to work out of the problem. So what we say often is that the very same traits that got you into addiction can become the very same traits to lead you out of addiction. I've been arrested 18 times, but that never stopped me from getting high. So that was bad decision making, but it's also reflective of this trait of determination, right? That many people in addiction have. And so we're learning how to harness that, how to bring together all 10 traits that we work with to create this synergistic effect. So by identifying these traits and begin working with the traits, they serve as protective factors and they serve as modes of empowerment. And so, yeah, we launched like in the summer of 2023 at the same treatment center I was once a client of, nearly 10 years to the date. I went in 2013, and then in 2023, we launched the trait-based model recovery. And I really had no idea how it would take, just being a person in 17 years of active addiction. Then I was a resident for a year long in a treatment program, residential treatment program. And so knowing what was missing and the improvements that could be made. So we just laid it all on the line, rolled it out, and it's been an incredible success. People really resonate with the content, with the delivery of the content. And yes, since then, we've been implemented in 26 organizations across 5 states.
In 2.5 years?
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It's pretty well.
That's incredible.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Congratulations.
It is well. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. And then we started the prevention model, which, the DARE program worked for me, Brandon. Like I never got high, I never drank at all in school. I was afraid my brain would fry in a skillet or something.
I know that picture.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it wasn't until I went to college when I first experimented. But then, man, when nothing bad happened after I first got high, I thought, well, I'm the exception to the rule. None of that stuff I learned in school,
Uh,
high school matters. And so I was obviously mistaken. It took me 17 years to figure that out. But what we're going to do through trait-based prevention is instead of relying upon fear as a motivator for transformation or change, we're going to anchor the prevention message to an inner identity. And so students or youth will see that experimenting with drugs is an off-ramp to their leadership ability. So that's going really, really well too. We launched our pilot year for the prevention program last year with 100 students, and this year we've already got 1,200 students in just our second year, our first official year. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, so this is amazing. This conversation is part of the Conscious Solutions podcast, and
Mhm.
the idea here is that we explore how leaders use creativity, compassion, and modern systems to build organizations that last.
Awesome.
And so it's great to be in a conversation with you where you're building something that is
Mhm.
clearly growing and
Mhm.
quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, this is a relaxed, this is just an authentic, really conversation between you and I. And
Yeah.
if there's anything afterward that you want to cut, just let me know.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that.
Um, and for the flow, what I'd love to do today is we'll start with your story. You've already gotten into it a little bit.
Mhm.
Move into where the Center for Trait-Based Transformation is today.
Mhm.
Explore some of the challenges and opportunities that come with growing a purpose-led organization. And then we'll close with what gives you hope for where things are headed. How's that sound?
Awesome. Let's do it.
All right. So, you're listening or maybe watching the Conscious Solutions podcast, and I'm your host, Brandon Barklay. And today we're joined by Dr. Jason Roop, founder of the Center for Trait-Based Transformation. And the Center for Trait-Based Transformation helps people and organizations discover how to lead, build, and serve from their core strengths. We're exploring the journey behind the movement, what's worked, what's evolved, and what it really takes to build a mission-driven business in the modern world. So thank you to everyone who are watching or listening, and a big thank you to Dr. Roop for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you, Brandon. It's an honor to have this conversation today, and hopefully for your audience, hopefully we can uncover and unpack some things that'll be very, very helpful to them.
And I'm sure we will. I think we've already started down that path, actually. So you gave me a little bit of your background,
Yep.
but maybe more specifically, how did the Center for Trait-Based Transformation start?
Well, like I shared previously, or we were discussing just a moment ago, it really started after I became sober. So I was in active addiction for 17 years, been arrested 18 times, I've overdosed 4 times, been raided by the police twice, and I ultimately wound up in a homeless shelter in late 2012. And I actually got kicked out of the homeless shelter because I was sneaking in crystal meth. So I was literally homeless in early 2013. And then fortunately, I was able to find a way to treatment, to residential treatment, and I was there for a year. And while I was there, I noticed something that was really powerful. And it was this, it was that a lot of great good was being accomplished by a lot of great people that were there that nobody was talking about. And so, like, I felt like a monster when I showed up to the front doors of the treatment center. I had nothing but a trash bag of clothes. I had no self-respect, no possessions, nothing. Felt like a monster. But while I was in there, I began to notice that, other folks that were in this treatment center had a rap sheet as extensive as mine, but they were doing great, noble, and compassionate things to really advance the welfare and the lives of the other clients. And so I never forgot that. After I graduated in 2014 from rehab, in 2019, I had the opportunity to get my PhD. And I don't come from an academic family. My grandfather was a coal miner. My father was a coal truck driver with a sixth grade education. But when the opportunity presented itself, I was like, yeah, I want to do this because I had recalled and it always stuck with me what I observed while I was in treatment. And so I began my doctoral degree process and I began the research. And an advisor told me to pick a topic that I always love every morning that I'd wake up to research. And I kept coming back to this question, and it was this: when we talk about recovery from addiction, is the goal to completely transform someone from the inside out, top to bottom, left to right, or are there some good qualities that we can pull forward and build upon? So that was the position I took.
Mm,
So the hypothesis was that people with substance use disorder possess highly effective leadership traits. And so over a 3.5 year period, it was a qualitative study, collected over 1 million pieces of data, and it was analyzed. And I had some other behavioral scientists kind of verify that I was analyzing the data correctly. In 2022, I defended that dissertation, and that became a part of the body of knowledge. So it advanced the body of knowledge that, yeah, indeed, people in addiction often have these leadership qualities. It's just that they've been hijacked by addiction, and they come across not as leadership qualities. So after I obtained and defended my dissertation, obtained my PhD, I was like, we want to make this information and this understanding accessible for others. And so I began to piece together, the modality for the trait-based model recovery, which drew upon that research that identified those leadership traits, and then combined it with a solutions-focused therapy, or IFS, as well, positive psychology, entrepreneurship, and then leadership development. So created this full continuum of strength, a curriculum, 40 lesson curriculum. It has 100% content that's accessible digitally. We've got guidebooks, workbooks, assessments, and all of that. So you could say the Center for Trait-Based Transformation officially started in April of 2023 when I showed back up to that very same treatment center, but this time I had more than a trash bag of clothes. I had a team of mental health professionals ready to launch and deploy a life transforming modality. So it was really, really special. And yeah, it took off, Brandon, to where, we're now in 23 organizations, and that includes treatment centers, jails, as well as schools with our prevention program that was introduced the following year across 5 states. And so we're growing rapidly. And so, I like the title of this podcast about being conscientious. And I think that that's kind of how this whole organization has unfolded and this modality has unfolded is it's been an opening to an awareness that people are much more than their behaviors, much more than being categorized as a person in addiction or a person with a criminal history, that by latching onto these traits, it dissolves the shame, it dissolves the stigma. And it's more than psychological hocus pocus, it's science. And so by working with this, it's really transforming lives all across.
and I mean, it sounds like it, especially with the pace of adoption
Yep.
is really incredible. And um, I've got a background in personal growth and development work, and I worked with teens
Oh,
when I was younger, and I can really see how this orientation toward helping people understand how to like capitalize on what the kind of natural gifts
yep.
and abilities that you have are.
Yeah.
And it's something that, you know, I've got a background in addiction and recovery. I
Mhm.
went through recovery myself.
Mhm.
I've been working with clients in that space for a number of years, this is not a modality that I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely set apart. Before 1938, if you'd have told your doctor that you couldn't stop drinking or you had a problem with drugs, they were going to recommend a full frontal lobe lobotomy or
Right.
electroshock therapy. And fortunately, something beautiful was brought into this world through the creation of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 steps. And it's saved and impacted millions of lives, and my own
Yes.
included. But that's been since 1938, and although there's been adaptations for addiction treatment and things such as CBT that can be applied to addiction treatment and recovery, there's not really been a whole new paradigm that has been created since 1938, so over
Right.
80 plus years. And so what trait-based does is it introduces that new paradigm for understanding addiction, for understanding ourselves as human beings. And yeah, I really feel like it's just a gift of the universe, and it's just kind of I've been the vessel that's been chosen to bring this out into the world, and it's really a modality that's soaked in compassion and wisdom and empowerment.
Have you seen your approach evolve over the last couple years with kind of the speed of your success? Has anything had to shift to accommodate that?
Yeah. Yeah, we always want to stay out in front and engage clients or students right where they're at. And so we've got, all of the lessons are available online, meaning that each lesson for both the recovery and the prevention model has a video with it. We've got PDF copies of the guidebook and all of the workbooks. And we also have in-person facilitation. We typically go to an organization and we train the facilitators on the trait-based modality. And so we always want to be responsive to society and to the needs of people and the interest of those. We had a study that was published in Scientific Reports back in July that found that trait-based achieves a 97.1% level of engagement, which is critical for those of us in addiction treatment and recovery. So we are always adapting the modes of delivery, and we actually are about to introduce something through our prevention program and the recovery program, and it's going to be Strength Spark. So it's an AI that has a trait-based brain, so to speak. So it will have information and knowledge based upon the trait-based curriculum, learning objectives, the heroes of recovery and prevention. And so we know there may be some concerns with AI in those spaces, especially in schools, but we put into place some guardrails for that. So that's what we plan to roll out here in the next month or so.
Beautiful. And is so you've got a couple of different uh, types of clients, I guess.
Yeah.
People who you serve, right? You're doing training, so for people to learn how to facilitate or conduct your model.
Yep.
Um, and then you're working with obviously students in
hmm
schools uh,
Yep.
and then you're also working with people who are in recovery,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So you
Yep.
kind of have three avenues
Yeah.
of people that you're serving.
Exactly. And just this week we announced our membership with NADAC, the National Association of Alcohol and Drug Counselors. So our facilitator training for the recovery model actually also results in CEUs. So it's very clinical. So yeah, you're exactly right. Kind of three paths with students being one of those, and this is a leadership development tool, a prevention message, which is anchored in identity instead of fear. And then, of course, those in recovery through the trait-based model recovery. And then, of course, the clinical aspect for those facilitators that will benefit from having those continuing education units. But we're not limited to just clinicians. We also train, certify peer support specialists as facilitators in the trait-based model. It's basically everybody, Brandon.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
no,
full ecosystem. Yeah.
it's beautiful. For the student program, do you feel like this is something that's maybe replacing the DARE program?
Yeah,
Is that
hopefully
kind of
so.
is that the idea?
Yeah, that is the idea. And we're just getting started. Well, our pilot was last year. We had 100 students at a local intermediate school here in central Kentucky. And it went so well that that school doubled the amount of students that go through trait-based prevention this year. But also, we were able to partner with three other schools. So we now have over 1,000 students that's in the prevention model, and really, yes, our goal is it's not a fear-based prevention program.
Great,
We actually want to empower students. It's a leadership development tool that serves as a prevention effort because these traits, once you identify and activate them and start working with them, they serve as protective factors.
great.
So yeah, we would love to replace DARE eventually.
I well, I guess I was gonna say, I hope that Nancy Reagan's supportive of of the modification, because you
Yeah,
said that DARE worked for you,
yeah, it did.
and
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know that it worked for me, but
Yeah.
um,
Right. Right.
but that's all right. That's a different topic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even mission-driven work has its challenges. What's been the hardest part of scaling or maybe sustaining the growth that you're experiencing at the center?
Yeah. That's a great question. And the work that we're doing, it's not without opposition because you've got a lot of traditionalists in both spaces in recovery and prevention, or more so in recovery, kind of your traditional 12-step approaches or CBT approaches. And so there's some inherent maybe resistance that may not even be conscious
Mm,
for some of the administrators or decision makers. So while we have been incredibly well received in a lot of organizations, some of the difficulties has been, this is a new framework and a new paradigm. So we've really got to continue carrying the message forward because there is like an embedded wall of resistance, I think you could say, in certain pockets to anything that's innovative and new and outside of the traditional box.
mhm,
So the way that we approach that is we just, we engage the heart. Like we are not only advocates for the modality itself, but also, we do things such as offering up the program initially for free as part of a pilot, just so that people can see once they start working inside of this model how effective it actually is. And so the main thing that we use to help us achieve that objective is the evidence-based foundation that we have and the data that was reported in the third most cited journal in the world this past July in Scientific Reports that trait-based is a new paradigm for addiction treatment and recovery. And we've got the 97.1% achievement for engagement or retention. Also, the deliverables for mental health, which was astonishing. So we did this very comprehensive longitudinal study, and it was found that trait-based helps improve levels of depression by 71.5% and levels of anxiety by 58.5%. So while there may be some opposition or reluctance with some of the decision makers at various organizations, not only engaging with the heart space, not only is that effective, but also having the hard data. That I think that helps us having the evidence backing to say that, hey, this approach is actually effective and probably more effective than what's currently been delivered across most sites.
And how are you getting into the ears of the decision makers at whether it's schools or different centers? Like, how are they coming across your modality?
I've not done any marketing, Hardly at all. I've got a Facebook page. We do have a website. Primarily, the past 2 years, I've spoken at a lot of conferences, from California to Cape Cod. I mean, in all points in between. And so at these presentations and training, or presentations is what they are, that's how the word gets out. And so it is a movement, but the fruit of all of that is not really coming by a heightened SEO, focus, or through a big, massive marketing campaign. It's just been primarily through word of mouth, and through networking at those conferences. So that's really the extent of it, as far as what we've done up to this point.
Um, and as you've grown, what strategic hurdles or bottlenecks have shown up? Maybe around content delivery or communication. Maybe it's having a big enough team to be able to deliver.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's true. When we've built this from the very beginning, and when I say me, it's me and my wife, Amanda Joe. Um, I always wanted it to be scalable, so I knew that the impact potential that this would have and the growth potential. So we wanted to make it scalable, so we wouldn't get boxed in. And so I think that having a lot of the content deliverable in a digital format helps with that. Also, one of the biggest hurdles that has actually just now become one of our biggest opportunities was with those trainings. So initially, what we would have to do is go on site, go in person, and do like a half day or full day training with the facilitators, which, you only have a certain amount of time with them, a certain allotment of resources at the time. And so in order to replicate that approach, it wouldn't hold true across the nation. And so what we were able to do by identifying that bottleneck early on, we were able to develop and roll out a fully asynchronous facilitator training that's fully online. So that allows us, as an organization comes on board, they can just have their facilitators complete the 10-hour course, and then that results in the certification, and not only the certification, but the confidence and the knowledge to deliver this modality in its most effective form.
that's amazing. And I imagine that there's quite a few opportunities for them to continue to engage in more training, or can they get like feedback and coaching from you?
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. We actually had a lot of our graduates that had went through the trait-based model recovery while they were a resident of a treatment center here in Central Kentucky. They actually so enjoyed their experience and their journey through the trait-based curriculum that they took it upon themselves to start meeting in person every week. So graduates from various treatment centers, so within probably 100-mile radius, you've got several residential treatment facilities that had implemented trait-based. And so when clients phased out of those treatment facilities, they wanted to continue with trait-based. And they actually took it upon themselves to start a weekly meeting that's called the Start from Strength Ambassadors Club. And they meet in Danville, Kentucky every Wednesday night. And that group continues to grow and to expand. And also with the facilitators that have been certified for the trait-based modality, trait-based is very cross-cutting. So, because it establishes internal balance and harmony, it can be effective for other mood and personality disorders. So, it's not limited to just addiction. So, I've had a lot of epidemiologists and other scientists or clinicians say, hey, can we unpack this and apply it in a broader context? And so, we've been working on that. And there's just a lot of room for growth, personal growth and professional growth. And not only that, but application. This framework in the tree of traits and the trait-based modality can be applied to a lot of different context.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like something that all students should be going through in
Yeah.
school, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
When I first started doing personal growth and development work, it was a similar like aha that I had. Like as we're looking at communication models and
Yeah.
basically the kind of the techniques of being a
Mhm.
good human,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. I
Yeah.
was like, why isn't this stuff taught in school, you know?
Yeah.
And it sounds similar, like the trait
It
base should
is.
be something all students engage with.
Yeah. They talk about life skills a lot with communication, responsibility, timeliness, and boundaries, things like that. When I was creating the trait-based model prevention and developing the curriculum and the workbooks, we've got curriculum from seventh grade to 12th grade. As I was writing the workbooks, I was like, I never went through anything like this. And
Right.
I was there was nothing like this when I grew up. So when I started, introducing it to students and teachers at these schools, they said, well, there's nothing like that now. It's not like, you missed the boat. Like there's not been anything that's really been that engaging for students and that just empowering really is essentially what it's doing.
Yeah. Um, if you had a magic wand and you could fix one reoccurring challenge in how your organization operates, what
Mm.
would it be?
Mm. Well, if I had a magic wand, and maybe I do, we don't know that I don't, but
Right,
but
presumptive question, excuse me.
right. The biggest level of frustration for me, but it's not an internal organizational problem, but I think to some extent it can be, and maybe some of your listeners or you have experience with this, but you can say sales or whenever that we have meetings with interested parties of organizations, the primary source of frustration has been really we get the ball close to the goal line, so to speak, and then it's like they disappear sometimes without any just like, hey, no, we're not interested in this time, or this is too innovative for us at this time. I think some of the challenge has been communication. So I think it comes down to communication, and if there was a way to make that more consistent from beginning to end or to continuation, I think that would alleviate a lot of our frustration. But in inner inside the organization, we don't have any employees. We've got a lot of facilitators, a lot of people that volunteer. We're so young, we're just getting started. And I think we've tried to achieve a certain standard of excellence for anyone that does volunteer or help out. And that standard is just starting from strength, seeing the strength in everyone, seeing that everyone has value, has worth, has this inner source of power and strength that we can build upon, making sure that that is resonates across the organization. That will always be one of our top priorities. And so as we continue to grow, I think creating and establishing certain parameters to where we can ensure, I guess, or measure or assess our organization's ability to quickly identify the strengths in others and to always kind of bring it back to that. So I think it's more of a conceptual framework uh,
Mm,
when it comes to that, more than it is a logistical process.
sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you've got it's interesting. I love that a large part of your team there is volunteer based. I mean that my
Yeah.
guess is it's people who have had the experience and the impact of trait-based
We, we
workflow.
we pay them in wristbands.
Oh,
Start from strength, little wristbands. They accept it and it works so far. But yeah, it's graduate to the trait-based model recovery. And it's people who have like followed us from afar, like on social media or something like that. And they get it, because really this is about more than just helping someone walk out of addiction. It's about helping to open the heart space and to open the understanding for who they are, that they're not a bad person.
right.
And so this is a level of awakening, I think, to some degree, that as people engage with this content, that not only are they able to achieve their goals as it relates to addiction or consumption, but actually a lot of things are beginning to take shape in their lives, and it's an opening, a receptivity to a lot of the great things that can unfold in them and through them and because of them.
It's beautiful work. It's super inspiring to get to hear what you're up to,
Mm.
how big the reach is, like, and how quickly that's happening.
Yeah, yeah,
It's really inspiring.
yeah. Thank you.
Um, and yeah, and I appreciate how you kind of framed that challenge of the communication piece. I know you
Mhm.
said a little earlier that being able to communicate or maybe articulate for people who are unfamiliar, or maybe they might be used to kind of the traditional methodologies, have a
Yeah,
hard time maybe accepting
yeah.
um, or being open to,
Hmm.
what you're doing with trait based.
Yeah.
And what's kind of interesting is that I've heard similar
Hmm.
from other purpose-driven organizations
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
that piece, being able to communicate and have people listen,
Hmm.
um, where there might be something actually getting in the way of their listening,
Yeah.
um, is part of what's impacting their ability to scale or grow.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
so
interesting.
it's an interesting thread that you pointed out, because it's not the first time I've heard
That's
that similar.
yeah, that's really interesting. That's definitely worthy of some time to sit with and unpack. I'm sure that has a lot of understanding, I think, associated within that. I'm glad to hear it's not just me.
It's not just you, I think as we're in a time where things are changing quickly, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
world around us is changing really quickly.
Yeah.
And I think it can be challenging or a little bit scary sometimes to
Yeah. Mhm.
even, like, do we even have the capacity to consider
Mhm.
another change?
Yeah. Right.
You
Right.
know, it
Right.
it just like
Right.
our bandwidth, right? It's like,
Exactly. Max
well, I'm kind
out.
of maxed out, so I can't actually
Yeah.
hear this amazing,
Yeah.
solution or proposition that you
Sure.
have.
Yeah, absolutely. I know without a doubt that that's some of the hurdles that we're faced with is like at any other time when the world's not changing so dramatically. There may be more receptivity, but
Right.
you're totally right. I totally get that. Like so much is going on right now. Anything that can deliver consistency and stability is preferred over even something that could be innovative and even more effective. Like that's a really great point that you elucidate. I really appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. And um, I mean, I'll kind of keep rolling it around in my head, because, I think that there's something on the other side of it, is like, all right, so what is the right way to then reach those people? Is it a
Yeah,
timing issue? Is
yeah.
it a communication issue?
Hmm.
Is it the format,
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think that there's the ability to solve that
Hmm.
problem.
Yeah, agreed.
Um, anything that um, we haven't spoken about yet, for your center, for the work that you're doing, or maybe for you personally, anything that you would like people to be able to
Yeah.
you'd like to be able to share.
Yeah, just I think that it's like you said, it's a very interesting time, and I think that the whole movement of trait-based recovery and prevention. I think that if there's anything I would want to leave for people to ruminate upon or to think about or to reflect upon, it's that I think simply put, it can be that start from strength. In a nutshell, when I created our website and I imagined our slogan, our mission, our philosophical foundation is simple, three words: start from strength. Well, when I went to get the website, I thought that domain name would done have been taken or done no longer existed because it was in use. But that was not the case. Startfromstrength.org, startfromstrength.net, startfromstrength.com. There was no Start From Strength domains that had been taken, nor was there any trademark slogan for Start From Strength. It was brand new. And so that was an epiphany for me. I was like, what a, wow, what a realization, and what a revelation for it being just the right time for this understanding and this level of awareness to be not only introduced, but engaged with by society, to be not only appreciated, but to actually be brought into material form. And so, I think that what we're doing across all of the lanes that we're in or paths that we're moving down is that we want to help each other start from strength. And I think what we're doing, it's a continuum of strength or an ecosystem because essentially we're all linked arm in arm. And like my favorite guru Ram Dass said, we're all just walking each other home.
That's
And
right.
so I kind of feel that's what we're doing. We're walking each other home by learning how to start from strength. That we don't have to purchase strength externally, that we don't have to take strength in the form of a pill 2 times a day, that strength actually emerges from within. And so it's a message, it's a movement, and I think that's the primary thing of what this organization is all about. It's about starting from strength, and it's about expanding and evolving not only our consciousness, but growing our hearts as well and our hands throughout compassionate efforts as well to see the strength in everyone because everyone has the strength within.
So, one more question for you.
Yep.
What is your vision for the future?
Oh, yeah. I would like for trait based to be known internationally, and I would like for it to step into the space of being kind of the default. And I'm talking 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road. Even after I'm long gone from this earth journey, I think this work will continue. But I would like for this strength-based modality that isn't just all rose-colored glasses. Like when we get into the shadow lands and the tree of traits, we learn about some shadows, but we don't personally attach to them. I would like to see the Start from Strength framework replace those fear based and deficiency based mindsets, approaches, and modalities so that we as a society can do better, so that we
Hmm.
can be more loving and more kind. And that's not weakness, that's strength. And so that's my vision for the future.
Beautiful. And I certainly am with you. I want a strong future for all of us.
Yes, yes.
Um, so, Dr. Roop, this has
Yeah.
been such is a really meaningful conversation to me. You know, the this space is something
Mhm.
that's near and dear to my heart, and you're doing incredible work.
Mhm.
Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for, the efforts that you've
Mhm.
expressed to make it possible for the Center for Trait-Based Transformation to exist,
Yeah.
the impact that you're creating.
Yeah.
And it's conversations like this that remind us that leadership at our core is about understanding and empowering people.
That's right. Well, Brandon, thank you so very much. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate the space and the platform that you're creating. And also, I really appreciate the grace with which you led this conversation. I feel like well, I am in my living room, but you know what I mean. I feel like this conversation is just taking place in a very relatable environment. So I applaud not only your skill and talent, but your wisdom and compassion in the pacing with which you so sincerely have led this conversation. So thank you very much.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So we'll let it kind of wrap there.
Mhm.
Really appreciate, again, the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's interesting that that piece around the communication is coming up again. It's something I want to continue to kind of work on.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe if I get any ideas, I'll follow up with you there.
Yeah, let me know. I really like when you brought that out with so much instability in the world today, that just having another thing that's not the norm can be seen as an adversary. So I really never even thought of that, but that's actually a great connection that you'd made. If you find out some more on that, and through that, if you can filter on how to navigate through that, yeah, definitely drop me a line and let's stay in touch for sure. Um, However, I can support you and whatever. If I can lend a hand, just let me know. You got my email, and so yeah, I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. That's a beautiful invitation. Do you have are you in centers here in Florida?
No, we are not. Um, I supposedly am going down on November the 17th to St. Petersburg. There's a juvenile justice center for youth ages 11 to 17 that they're going to be implementing the trait-based model recovery actually for those youth. So that would be our first location in Florida, but it's really it comes back to communication. Like the president of the organization said, "Hey, we want you down here. When can you come?" I told him, and we were ready to buy the tickets. They said, "No, we'll buy the tickets. We'll put it on. We'll put you up. We'll buy." But I haven't heard from them since, so I don't know how reliable that's going to take place or how it's if it's for a sure thing or not. I'd say it's probably about 75% likely that it'll happen. But yeah, to answer the question, no, we're not in Florida yet.
Okay, well, definitely keep me in mind as
Okay.
you know, if things in Florida evolve for you or any centers that, if you need somebody on the ground to go check out a
Oh
space.
yeah, that'd be great.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so it's really you and your wife that are running the
Yeah.
show.
That's it. We've got, yeah, that's it. That's it. It's me and Amanda. That's doing it. And yeah, we look for like field reps because we can only cover so much territory. But yeah, if you were able to like find any opportunities like that, like we would want to compensate for that to some level on like a commission structure or things. But we've got where we're in 5 states now, that's come about honestly by like word of mouth and the conference presentations. The conference presentations where people learn more about trait based, it's led to those accounts. So
Mhm.
yeah, New Mexico, the state of Washington, Wisconsin, Tennessee, and Kentucky. That's where we're at currently.
And you said you haven't done any outreach. You're not really doing any marketing.
No, I mean just social media, a website and social media. That's it.
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
your website's nice. I like the website. It's easy to navigate. It's easy to look at,
Yeah.
like visually appealing. Yeah, I mean I mean, what's your appetite for growth right now, and what can you realistically?
We are not tied down to anything. We don't have any children, and we have no anchors here in central Kentucky. So we want to roll it out. We could probably roll out probably 4 to 5 organizations a month, I would say. And that because we've got the training online for both the prevention and the recovery modalities. So that allows us to do those implementation and launches pretty effortlessly. So I think, just we want to do it in a thoughtful pattern that allows us to, oversee and manage the launch and growth. But I think we can be pretty ambitious when it comes to that growth.
Interesting. Um, it's curious to me. Part of what I've helped other organizations do is build business to business lead
Yeah.
generation systems.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's
And
that's our that's our clientele. We don't partner. We don't go directly to the consumer.
right, yeah,
Mhm.
interesting. Yeah, so really you're looking it I would say that your first target is probably treatment centers, right?
Yeah, treatment centers for the recovery model and then schools for the prevention model. Um, in the recovery model, that's where you're likely to have the most aversion, maybe just because, well, you really shouldn't, but
Traditional systems that work,
yeah, that's it.
quote
Yeah,
unquote. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
Florida
But
Florida has more recovery centers than any other state.
yes, yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah.
People want to come be
It really
more
gives, and
comfortable.
if a treatment center adopts a trait base, it really gives them an advantage in the market because no one else. I mean, there's other strength-based approaches, but there's nothing like trait-based that really captures the full experience of, being the light and shadow expressions of the traits. It's a golden opportunity. And yeah, we've not really done anything as far as outreach, just, the website, Facebook and LinkedIn and conferences. That's about been it.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I would love to kind of noodle on that, and maybe we can have a follow-up
Yeah,
conversation. And
great.
um,
Yeah.
like again, I love what you're up to. The impact is it speaks for itself, and your how quickly you're growing and everything. So congratulations.
Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah, noodle on it, think about it. If you want to get involved, help out. I think it's a gold mine. Honestly, I think that, on the commission scale, we can be very generous with that. It's just we're limited. We're just two people, and my time is spent on creating. So if I can continue creating, then I think that's how my time is best served. But if we can have an extension of the center, I think it's a great, great opportunity, especially in Florida. Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll yeah, let me kind of sit with that and put some things together, and I'll reach out maybe next week, and we
All right.
can we can
Perfect.
follow up.
Perfect. All right.
Thank you again, Jason. Have a great day.
Brandon, you too.
Bye. Thanks for listening to the Conscious Solutions podcast and for being part of a movement that supports the people who support the people. If today's conversation inspired you, share it forward, follow the show, and stay connected for upcoming episodes. And if you're a founder, a practitioner, or an organization doing meaningful work in the healing or wellness space, or you're looking for support in building systems that help your mission grow, reach out. I'd love to hear your story and explore what's possible. Until next time, stay curious and keep building with heart.